Hi everyone, so this is the explanation for assignment 2, which is the background briefing paper. I'm going to kind of look at the camera and glance at my screen, so I will keep looking backwards and forwards to you. Alright, so this is a group assignment, and as the description explains, it requires you to extend on your investigations in assessment task 1. Which is the kind of empirical, setting the scene, contextual assignment by applying your knowledge to innovations in STEAM learning. And this is to address a wicked problem. And this is a wicked problem that affects an education provider. So an education provider here in this course could be somebody who works not necessarily in the education sector, but has a kind of educative aspect to their work. And so we have a number of industry partners who are working with you in tandem with either me or your tutor, and they will articulate what the wicked problem is, and it's essentially something that is very specific to their context. And it's something that they've identified, which is an issue or a kind of conundrum that they would really appreciate your help on as a team to think of some possible solutions. But it's in respect to STEAM learning. So it could encapsulate all of those things. So it could be the whole kind of acronym of STEAM, or it might be one facet of the STEAM collection. So really important that through your in-class learning or your online learning that you understand with your particular industry partner what the wicked problem is, and that will set the scene for you in terms of your group assignment, how you approach some possible solutions. So the background briefing paper is about how your wicked problem might be addressed through scientific, technologic, engineering, artistic and or mathematic experimentation. So the problem itself might relate to the STEAM, but the solution also might relate to aspects of the STEAM. So the background briefing paper must clearly identify and describe the wicked problem and how this problem impacts on the industry partner specifically and early childhood education generally. So you're thinking about this through the kind of conceptual lens of young people, young children. And so your background briefing must detail how innovative STEAM experimentation and problem solving can address the wicked problem in different ways and with different possible solutions. So it's kind of this the first experimentations, your kind of explorative thinking, brainstorming, that kind of thing. So the background briefing paper must be presented in a dynamic style and can include diagrams, innovative layouts and design, headings and sections. So this is a really great opportunity for those of you who are coming to do this course from different disciplines within the university. Put your expertise together in a kind of transdisciplinary way, multidisciplinary way with your team, and think about how you would normally perhaps approach problem solving briefs and solutions. So it must be use a range of literacy styles and appropriate to a written proposal. So it's not an academic paper, it is actually a dynamic kind of interactive living presentation of some possible kind of solutions in a paper-based format. So if we go through the criteria, that will probably help explain some of the finer details of what I expect you to produce in this assignment. So it's 25 points, and you'll see that the points are distributed fairly evenly, but there are some emphases. The first two criteria have a heavier point emphasis. So the first one is description of the wicked problem, and it provides a clear description of the wicked problem and demonstrates a good understanding of the problem in relation to early childhood education. So to get those full deadly points, we're looking at the wicked problem being described in excellent detail and very clearly addresses the problem identified by the industry partner. So this is about you. You can't do that unless you're actively engaged in your learning. You can't do that unless you're an active member of your team. And so, you know, people expecting to get this result, the top marks for low-level participation, are going to be quite disappointed, because it's very hard. It's very hard to kind of achieve that really, really good understanding and very detailed explanation without a deep engagement in your learning, either as an online student or in your in-class participation. The next one is STEAM to problem. So that is the kind of STEAM approach to finding some solutions to the problem. So this isn't about solving. We know that this is a 4-week course, but it's about you thinking expansively and doing the problem solving activity to think through some things that are real world learning, industry-based learning, identified not by me, your university professor, but to actually listen to what's being articulated in the industry and responding directly to that. So the next one has a significant weighting. So this is about demonstrating understanding of the potential for scientific, technologic, engineering, artistic, and or mathematic experimentation to address a wicked problem. So it really does allow for all those different skills and expertises that you have and your strengths to apply here. So it's not about saying, well, this group is going to use the mathematic expertise of Fred. You actually have to work as a team. So you have to kind of think about across your team what types of skills you have, and using those within that kind of STEAM framework. So that's why we kind of include STEAM as a whole thing, because the likelihood is that you will have skills across those particular aspects, and you can use them. You can use them collectively. So to get your deadly 6 points, the paper very clearly establishes how STEAM pedagogies and learning will provide a proposed solution to the wicked problem. So again, this is it's a very kind of open statement, and that's because each of you will be having different types of industry problems to deal with, and therefore it has to kind of, you have to kind of articulate your particular problem to get these top points. The next one is creative ideas and layout. So let's talk a little bit more about what we might expect. So it's called a paper, but of course it doesn't have to be like a Word document. You can use different platforms. You know, you can be really, really inventive. There are many kind of apps, there are many platforms, and you might decide as a team to use something really, really kind of suitable for your particular skill set, something that you've perhaps used before as a team, or one of you has used and is happy to teach the others how to use. The only thing is it needs to be readable by me or your tutors. Okay, so it needs to have a kind of open platform. So perhaps things that end up with a URL would be good. So if it's not going to be something like a Word document, you know, how else are you gonna present this so it's accessible by your tutors? Maybe it's something that can be converted into a series of PDFs, or a multi-page PDF or something like that. So just think through the transference of it in terms of how it is accessible to your tutors. They shouldn't need to download particular apps. Okay, so you do need to think about accessibility and transferability across to different readers. So my tip is, if you want to have like animations or kind of interactive aspects, use something that is accessible to anyone who has the URL. Or if you want something that's kind of visually striking and has a strong design element, then PDFs, PDF versions of it are fine. Okay, so just think through accessibility for us. But nevertheless, whatever you choose, to get those top deadly points, you need highly creative and innovative layouts to convey information. So the idea, that's really crucial, convey information. It needs to make sense. It needs to follow a kind of logical kind of route through. So it can be kind of like a mind map type structure, but it needs to make sense. It can't be so convoluted that it's completely nonsensical to a person reading it. So you've got to try and find the pathways through and make that quite obvious, and make the reader read it or view it in the order you would want them to. All right, so you've got to make sure the navigation is kind of makes sense to you're in control of how the navigation is undertaken in the final thing. So the layout is clearly communicates to the industry partner as well. So it's not just your tutors, it's not just me, but you're actually making it make sense to your industry partner. So they're not a university lecturer. They are going to be looking at it with quite particular eyes, so need to make it very readable and accessible to them as well. So it's not necessarily just for an assignment. This is about it making sense to them in terms of their wicked problem. So the background briefing is the next one, and this is around how the paper is dynamic and easy to navigate and understand. So this is about the content, how that translates. So you've got the design, but you've also got the content. So it shows to get the top points, the paper shows excellent understanding in how to prioritize and arrange information to the industry partner. So you know, there are simple things perhaps that layouts can do in terms of type, fonts, bold, striking images, you know, like graphics to help point in the direction. So there's the design, and it works very closely with content. And so to get those top points, the paper is extremely well organized and easily to navigate. And then the final one is it's clear and well organized and contains high quality standards in spelling and grammar. So that's to do with your literacy and grammar with no spelling mistakes. So this is about your first translation, if you like, of your possible solutions to the wicked problem, and how that might be looked at by the industry partner. Okay.